Hello everyone. I am so glad you have joined me today. I love sharing my ideas with you and I hope I inspire you with today's creation. And here it is. It's a great card and I use some more strips for another idea of how to use your designer series paper strips. This is the card we're going to be making today, and for that card I use the Forever Fern stamp set, and this is what it looks like, and I love this stamp set. It's so versatile, and I specifically used this image and this image. There's two of them. You can use whichever one just goes right, the other one faces left. And then I also used the hello for my sentiment, and I use these little sprinkles to give some interest down in here. All right, so now that we know that, let's move this over here and get started. The first thing we need to do is we need to take our piece of Whisper White that's our background, and this one is a portrait card, so it's going to go up and down. And I had added my strips, but it needed some interest. So what I did was I took the die from the set and I cut out the image out of a big piece of paper, and I'm going to put that image down here in the corner like so, and I've got repositionable tape on the back. And then I saved these pieces because you want this to look as realistic as possible. So when I cut it out, I saved that die, and now I can easily pop in, and it's got repositionable tape on the back also, pop in those pieces so that I can have them in my, here we go, my, I can't think. So it's part of my design, in other words, so I'm not losing it. Then I took Garden Green and my sponge dauber. Sorry, I didn't use a sponge dauber, I used a sponge. And all I did was I tapped it into my ink pad and then I pounced on the color, for lack of a better word, until I was happy with this. And I make sure you get that bottom piece. All right, if you're wondering what it looks like, you can always pick it up and see. Now I would like it a little bit darker, so just hold the one side and pick up. And I'm probably shaking the camera, and I apologize. All right, better. All right, so then I'm going to take that off, and with using repositionable tape I can easily do it. And I'm going to save my little pieces so that I can use it for the next time I do some sponging. All right, so there are those out of the way. Now I need to add my strips of DSP, and these strips are 1/2 of an inch wide. So what I'm going to take and do is I'm going to take and I'm going to add some glue to the back. You could use tape if you want. But I'm going to add that one up here in this corner like so. If you have a piece that's not real long, like this one that's supposed to be on the end, then start here and work your way out. But I had plenty from these scraps, so I didn't have to worry, work your way up. I had plenty left over, so I didn't have to worry about it. But I am going to try and keep the glue to the center of my piece. All right, and then this way. And again, I'm leaving a little tiny spot, spacing. And I will tell you, I actually prefer using the glue because it gives you a little bit of wiggle room. If you get it down there and it's not spaced correctly, you can slide it over. All right, now I'm pretty certain that is stuck down to my mat. So let me get a towel and wipe off the glue, because if not, my card's going to stick to it and I will lose my card. It will be ruined. All right, so now that I've got all those pieces on, I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to use Yucky scissors to trim this because it's going to get glue on it, and I don't want to have glue on my good scissors. I always use a pair for yucky cutting, and then I have another pair of scissors for ribbon, because paper dulls your scissors, and using them to cut paper, you could ruin your paper. So now our background's created, and we can add it to our card base, which is this gorgeous green color. I love it. All right. This goes on here like so, and I'm going to make sure I watch my spacing. So I'm gonna spread my glue around, and again, this is the front of my card to make sure I put it on the right spot, because you don't want to put it on the back, because then you have to take the whole card apart, and if you use glue, it doesn't release that well. All right, so there's my card base. That's ready. Now we need to make our image. So I took a piece of Whisper White, and this piece is 2 3/8 by 3 1/8. And I'm going to do some stamping. So I'm going to take, and I'm going to do some off stamping. So when I off stamp, I need a piece of scratch paper to make sure I don't get it on my cards, my mat that I'm working on. So I'm going to take my green color that matches, and that's the best thing about Stampin' Up's paper and ink. They all match. There's no guesswork. All right, the colors that I chose came from my DSP. I'm pointing up here and you can't see it. All right, now I wanted this background piece to be in the back, to be visible but not prominent. So I off stamped it. It's called a second generation stamping. It's where you stamp it first and then onto your cardstock. And this one is a full strength stamping, so that it's in the front like so. All right. Then I'm going to take my sentiment, and the sentiment, I love general sentiments. Most of the cards I make are, I probably need to re-ink my pad, all occasion. And the reason I do that is I never know when I'm going to need a card or for what reason. And this way I don't have to worry about it. All right, now I am doing a second generation stamping of the dots to give it some interest. And I'm just kind of filling in where I have some space. All right, that looks good. All right, so I'm going to put that to the side. And I'm done with my ink and my stamps. So I'm going to put my paper away. And then this goes on a piece of cardstock that is 2.5 by 3 1/4. So I'm going to add some glue to the back of this. I'm getting to the end of my glue. I keep mine turned upside down so that the glue, it's a hint for you. Let me get this down. Once you've started using your glue, keep it upside down in something and the glue will always be at the top. Now, if you didn't sign up for my newsletter, you missed out on this cute little project, which was really a Christmas project, but it holds my glue upside down perfectly, so I've been using it for that. But it's a cute little holder. Now this, we're going to take some of the linen trim. I wanted it general enough that if you wanted to send it to a guy, you can. So that's why I chose the linen thread or linen trim. And I'm going to use again some more of the tear and tape, the double-sided tape, because I want to make sure my ribbon stays in place. And I have been doing this for several years, and it's a hint that I pass on to all my stampers, because I want them to do good cards that don't fall apart either. So you take a piece of the double-sided tape and you put it on the back, and then you wrap your ribbon around, making sure it's even. So check the front, make sure it's even, like so. All right, and then because I want to make sure it doesn't come apart, I'm going to put another piece of tear and tape over top, and I'm going to leave that piece on there because I'm going to use foam dots to stick it up. Oh, all right, so I'm going to get my foam dots. I'm going to add these to my card. I got to cut some more. Okay. Now, if you don't have this stamp set in paper and you want to order it so you can make these supplies, in my description is a link to my blog, Creations in Paper, and when you get over there, the hostess code is there, and you use that hostess code and you can order the supplies. They're listed there, so all you have to do is click on the link and it takes you right to my store to order it. All right, so we've got all of those done. All right, and we're going to take our backs off. And again, if you don't have one of these pokey tools, order one of those when you place your order. I've had mine for a while, so Stampin' Up! Has a newer model. These were from Stampin' Up! Years ago, but I love it because it's long. They do have the Take Your Pick tool that you can put the tool, the pick on the bottom, but I like mine separate. It's just my preference. All right, let me get all of these pieces out of the way. All right, and it's time to add our image panel, and I'm not really worried about being centered. What I'm doing is I'm keeping it to this side and down a little bit so you can still see some of that image that we sponged on. And now to finish it off, we're going back to that ribbon and we're going to tie a bow. All right, and I know a lot of people struggle with making bows, but I have a pretty good system. Let me get this one finished and I'll show you. I probably should make a video. Do you think I should make a video how to tie a bow? Let me know in the comments. All right, what I take and do is I hold my ribbon with the tail to the south. I make my loop and hold it between my thumb and my forefinger. All right, I take the piece that's still attached to my spool and I bring it around to the front, cross it over, and I grab it with my thumb. Then I switched fingers, and I do this really quick, so I'm slowing it down. And I take my middle finger and I push that ribbon through that hole that I created. and I have my bow, and then I start to pull and tighten. And if you want a tiny bow, then tighten it some and then pull the ribbon down. And that's how you can tie a bow. Quick and easy. Take some practice. So take a spool of ribbon while you're watching TV and play with just, making bows. You don't have to even cut them. Just make them over and over again. All right, so I'm going to add my bow down in that corner. And there we go. And now, I do not like naked envelopes and insides, so I stamped my envelope in the inside with the same stamps that I used for the front. Don't forget to order your supplies. Use the link below. Check out the hostess code and order them so you can make yours. All right. I would love for you to join my newsletter group. We have some great ideas that I send out weekly with all kinds of fun things to make. So if you like my style, you'll love my newsletter. Head over to my blog. The link is in the description below. And sign up for my newsletter. The form is on the right. Thanks for visiting me today. Have a great day.